if I get it all back together and it doesn't start, it's going to be a big disappointment. And I'll be honest, there's a little bit of fear of failure in there. So you may have noticed I've been dragging my feet about putting the motor back in the Harley. And I'll be honest with you, it's because I'm nervous. You know, I don't have a ton of experience rebuilding engines. I mean, it was all fairly straightforward. I think I've got it all right. But, you know, if I get it all back together and it doesn't start, it's going to be a big disappointment. And I'll be honest, there's a little bit of fear of failure in there. So, but today I'm going to take the next big step. I'm going to put the motor in the frame. I'm going to put oil in the motor. I'm going to set the timing. We'll see if I get to a point where I can try and start it. But putting it back in the frame is pretty easy because it's just 4 bolts. And then it should just pick up and drop into place. All right, that's the 4 bolts. So let me get the nuts on those and see what's next. With the motor back in, I've got to hook up the wiring. Now these are the 2 wires from the coil, and one is going to go here and the other is going to come around the bottom and go to here. And then this blue one is for the tail light. That wraps around and goes to the back side of the points, if I remember right. And then this one from the ignition hooks up here. So, got to figure out how. I think that we're just going to go ahead and start with this one because it's easy. I think that one had some tape on it, so I might tape it again. Spun the bike around just to get a little bit better light. So right now, the next step is going to be setting my points gap. So I just have to find the high spot. So the manual recommends taking off the head to find top dead center, then backing it off something like 7/32 of an inch to set the timing point. But years ago when I was working on my RD, I broke apart a spark plug so I could use part and made this special tool, if you will, so that I could find top dead center on that project. And I think it might work well for me here. I don't want to screw that in too far because this has longer threads than the standard or the piston for this bike. So, see if this is going to work. As we rotate it, it comes up and then it goes back down. So I can use that to find top dead center. So I believe I've got this located at top dead center right now. So what I'm going to do, make a little score mark on my stick. The old tape had actually lost some of its adhesion, so when I was trying to do that, it moved a bit. So I'm going to try this again. Perfect. I can see my score mark. I'm going to go mark that. I don't know if this is going to show up well enough, but my score mark, initial score mark for top dead center, that doesn't look like it's maybe there, is right there. 7/32 below top center is that red one. So, all right, I've tested this a few more times, and every time that top dead center line is lining up. So now we turn it backwards. Just until there. And that is where we want to set our timing. Okay. So I'm not entirely sure why, but I can't get the timing set exactly where it's supposed to be. It is supposed to fire at 7/32 of an inch below top dead center. And I'm firing a little bit early, and you've got to rotate this clockwise to retard the ignition, and I've got it rotated clockwise as far as it will go. So it is slightly more advanced than it should be, but I think you'll see it's pretty close. If you watch that red mark, I think you can see the red mark in here, right? Let me make sure I got that in frame. So as the piston starts coming up, the light lights up. There's the red, and then it goes off, and then there, top dead center was just after that. So it might be like a 30-second. Let's try that again. Lights on. And it's off, and there's where it's supposed to be. So yeah, it's about a 32nd of an inch off. But since I don't have any more room to play with, I'm just going to try and tighten it up and go with that and see what happens. After I tighten it all up, I'm going to check the points gap again. I wonder if the points gap could be off. Maybe I should check it before I tighten it up, because sometimes you can change that with the points timing. Okay, I checked the gap on the ignition points, and I think it was just a fraction too high, because right now I think I've got this just about perfect. You can watch that red mark drop down as As the piston starts to come back up, the light will come on. There's the red mark, and off. Oop. Off. All right. And if I zoom in here, let's see if we can see. Right now, you'll trust me, the X-Acto line is lined up exactly with the top of that cardboard, and if I back this up that much, it comes on and off. So I'm real happy with that. So now I'm going to tighten everything up, get that tiny one on, try not to lose that little tiny washer. While I'm thinking about it, the next thing I want to do is make sure I've got oil in my transmission. So the book says 1.25 pints. That's what I've got here. But you really just fill it up until it comes out of here. I think that's while it's supposed to be while the bike is standing up and level. I'm just going to see how that compares to the 1.25 pints. Nope, that's coming out the fill hole. Got that a little fuller than I wanted. Didn't realize that the funnel was stopping it. Timing is set, oil's in the crank. I'm gonna see if I've got spark. I see spark, that's good, that's great. With the timing set, oil in the transmission, I can put the carburetor back on. There is a gasket, an insulating block, and another gasket. And then the carburetor slips on. Right, carburetor on. Alright, I played with that a little bit more. I got it to clip in, so now we got open throttle, closed throttle. Open, close, choke, run. The next thing I've got to do before I try and start it is the muffler. Hey, get this on there. So I am just mixing up a very small batch of premix. I know with modern oils you can go 40-1, but since this is the first startup, I'd rather err on the side of a little too much lubrication, even if there's a little bit of a risk of fouling out the plugs. Okay, that's fuel. We've got spark. Yeah. Dear Lord God, I pray this works. Got it. Set it half throttle. Choked. Ooh. That's exciting. alive. It's a runner.